No, they had no clue. They had no clue what he was saying. I'm sure of it. They were extra rough in removing my plug and my catheter and all of that business after I got out of the TES. It's multifocal. There's several reasons. The largest reason is not the most important reason. The largest reason from a personal perspective is to step out from under the Black Ops community and retire. I'm ready. I told you before, I can see myself walking along a pond and not being bothered by anybody except for maybe a bird here or there, and taking a sample and just taking my time and looking at it for fun. Well, my health is degrading. There's no doubt about that. Mm-hmm. The heart disease that I have is in fact degrading my health. Time is coming. I don't know how long that is, and of course that's within God's providence. Yes. Disappear at Walden's Pond. There are other reasons too. Now, without yelling the poor me scenario. Yes, people have a right to know. I mean, that's, other folks have screamed that. Some of them, I think, real. Some of them phony as a $3 bill. Yes, they have a right to know what is going on. They have a right to know because this is their future. Or maybe not. And it depends upon our wisdom or lack thereof. This gets me thinking. The one thing that we've heard from the Brookings Institution study, the famous clamp study, was this would cause a great social upheaval. It would destroy our social bonds, our religious bonds. And in fact, I know I'm digressing, but I ramble. Every time an individual is approached with the issue of would this destroy your faith, I have heard, this is my experience only, I'm sure there are going to be varied opinions, no, it'd strengthen it. It'd strengthen it. From a certain perspective, yes. From another perspective, no. The Brookings Institution was correct on a certain level. Suspend disbelief for a moment and walk with the idea that this is real. That the ruins that are present on the moon and on Mars, the ancient temples, were in fact, and are in fact, the gifts of our own progeny. Can you imagine what is going to happen when those temples, which were prayed to as the gods, are found out to be nothing more than the creations of men, that the men themselves were those who were being worshipped? Will fall headlong into the pool of Narcissus. And maybe that's a good thing. Maybe that's a good thing. Maybe we'll find truth, love, God, in something other than buildings and stones and marble. Maybe we'll find out who he really is. Or she, it, or just us. You want an experience of Site 4, watch the Andromeda Strain. Really? Except for there's a little more color inside of Site 4. They've got a nice orange stripe on the wall, and they've got a red and blue stripe on the floor, which gives you general directions depending upon the floor you're on, and you can't move without getting stopped anyway. Now we're talking separate to the Groom facility here. I'm aware of several floors at the Groom facility, and then finally the majority of the hot stuff was taken over to Site 4. We're talking 4 basic levels. The first level, and they're coded 4.1, 4.2, 4.3, 4.4, and finally where he was stored is 4.5. And that 4.5 designation was painted on the wall for him because 4 and 5 is 9. That's why, in fact, they built 9 hangars on the Galileo and Sidekick levels. The 4.1 level. The 4.2 level contained the Looking Glass, Alice's glass. In fact, outside of the door for the major facility, there's a white rabbit with a clock. A very large, it's a statue that's probably about that tall, and it's held above the doorway. It's wired above the doorway. The Looking Glass, I find out, is one of the ERBs. It's an Einstein-Rosenbridge promoter. It uses some form of, this is found out, Jesus Christ, in the last 2 weeks. I'm asking the right questions there, I guess. It's composed of a spherical, spinning, arced, rectangular solid matrix of nickel, cadmium, and barium. There is a spinning disk underneath it, which is supercooled. Into this is injected into the center of these spinning, and I'm not a physicist, spinning disks, is injected an argon gas. Into that is injected some type of repulsion matter. It's a gravity repulsion matter. They are obtaining the gravity repulsion matter from the heavy materials that have been obtained from the J-rods, the 115 variety material. And apparently when they bombard it with enough electromagnetism, this stuff repels gravity and it turns into some sort of exotic matter. They spin it fast enough, it opens, or they can see through it. And that is, from what I understand, the great prize in what's going on in the world right now, are those devices. Why do you think the British are running around Iraq right now looking for the climatological records that are just happen to be disappeared out of the Baghdad Museum with the rest of the cylinder seals? There were mistakes. Animals were attempted to transport from one location to another, the production of 2 of the devices, and they put them in resonance or something like that. I'm not a physicist. I don't know. But I was, in fact, present during a human attempt. The human did not survive. The human was not put in there under duress of any sort. It was a volunteer situation, and the human did not survive. The human did not move. The human stayed where the human was put. But the human changed, and I don't want to talk about it anymore. It was a attempt to transport an individual over linear distance, which I understand is the same thing as time travel. Distance is time. Yeah. From what I understand, they've only used it for information purposes. Aside from that, how they get the information out of it, no clue. I don't know. What specific information they've obtained, I only know of one piece of information, and that is the rush, why the rush is underway to get Lotus done by deadline. That in fact this group of J-rods that are not complying with the wishes of the committee and the wishes of the rest of the J-rods and the associated brothers, to put a clamp on them so that they stop their influence within the political structures of our government, including the financial structures. That it is in fact their slowing down of